Most murder investigations start with finding a body, right? Then the hunt for the killer begins. Well, this one is completely backward. It starts with the killer himself making a phone call.
Okay, so picture this. It's a regular afternoon, July 2020, in Marion County, Ohio. A 911 dispatcher picks up the phone, says that line we've all heard a million times.
And the voice on the other end? It's not a cry for help. It's something that stops you cold. A confession. A really direct, chilling confession that's about to launch one of the weirdest cases these cops have ever handled.
So who is this guy on the phone? His name is John Welsh. And as police are driving to his house, they've got to be thinking, what are we walking into? I mean, the suspects didn't just cooperate. He literally started the investigation himself.
Right, so the cops show up and they find John Welsh. He's not in a great state. Clearly intoxicated, pretty emotional, but instead of backing down, he doubles down. He tells them straight up, yeah, I killed a guy 2 months ago. He's buried in the backyard.
Okay, let's break down what he's telling them. 1, he killed someone. 2, it wasn't recent. It was 2 months ago. 3, the body's right there in his yard. And 4, he says the victim was a bad man. But here's the first big red flag. When they ask for a name, he clams up. That's definitely going to get the cops' attention.
And this is where it gets really tricky for the police. Their only witness, their only source of information is the confessed killer himself. And he's drunk. So how do you tell what's real and what's just a rambling, drunken story? It's a huge problem.
So as they start asking him questions, his story just crumbles. It's like a house of cards. First, he says the victim was a total stranger. Nope, turns out he knew him through a neighbor. Then he says someone else took the guy's truck before literally saying, sorry, I'm lying to you. But the biggest lie? He claims the gun he used was stolen in a break-in. Come on, you'd think he would have called the police about that, right? He never did.
And then there's that big, glaring question. Why now? Why wait 2 whole months? If you got away with it, why call the cops on yourself? You might think it's guilt eating him alive, right? A crisis of conscience? Well, not exactly. Turns out the real reason was a lot more practical. He was about to get evicted, and he was terrified his landlord was going to find the body first.
So even though Welsh is lying left and right, the police start to find things that suggest something awful did happen here. And that's when they discover that this isn't the first time 911 has gotten a call about this house. Check this out. They dig into their records and find another 911 call from 2 months earlier, right around the time Welsh said all this went down. A neighbor called in to report hearing 2 loud booms, and they were sure it wasn't fireworks. All of a sudden, Welsh's wild story just got a whole lot more believable.
So they head to the backyard, and it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. There's a shovel just lying there, bags of topsoil, and this messy pile of bricks and wood, covering a spot that just doesn't look right. It's pretty clear they're looking at a makeshift grave.
And sure enough, they start digging, and they find a body. The autopsy later confirms it. 2 gunshots to the chest. They identify the victim as a 33-year-old man named Jasper Brady. So for all his lies, John Welsh was telling the truth about the most important thing. He was a killer. Okay, so now they have a killer, and they have a body. The investigation totally shifts gears. They know who the killer is. Now they need to figure out who was the victim, who was Jasper Brady, and what was he doing in John Welsh's backyard.
And the way they found him, it tells a story. He wasn't just thrown in a hole. He was wrapped up. We're talking layers of trash bags, tarps, plastic wrap, all sealed up with duct tape. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment, heat-of-passion thing. Someone put a lot of effort into hiding this body.
As the police try to piece together Jasper's life, they find something incredible. A YouTube video he posted just days before he died. In it, he's just talking to the camera. And what he says is just so haunting. It really feels like you're watching someone who is just looking for a connection with anyone.
And this is just chilling. When you put the autopsy report next to that final video, it's a perfect match. The low bun in his hair, the scarf he was wearing, the 2 necklaces, even his painted fingernails, they're all there. It means he was killed and buried in the exact same state we see him in that video. It's truly heartbreaking.
So, with Welsh in custody and the evidence mounting, the case starts moving through the courts. But, a conviction and a prison sentence, that doesn't answer the biggest question of all. Why? Why did this happen?
Well, Welsh did give a motive.
He told the police, and he even told his landlord, that Jasper had said some really disturbing things about his 8-year-old son. Now, we absolutely have to remember, this is coming from John Welsh. It's his side of the story, and Jasper Brady isn't here to defend himself.
And looking at Welsh's background, he did plenty of run-ins with the law, a whole string of misdemeanors over the years, theft, trespassing, even a child endangerment charge. But nothing, absolutely nothing on his record suggested he would ever escalate to murder.
Ultimately, the evidence was just too strong. Welsh was charged with everything you'd expect: murder, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse. In the end, he pleaded guilty to the big one, the murder charge.
And for that crime, John Welsh got a sentence of 15 years to life. He'll be eligible for parole in 2035. And just like that, the legal side of this tragic story is, for all intents and purposes, over.
But a prison sentence doesn't mean we have all the answers. Not even close. The murder weapon, never found. Jasper Brady's truck, still missing. We still don't really know what the relationship was between these two men, and that awful motive Welsh gave, it's just his word against a dead man's.
So what are we left with? A killer who confessed, but wrapped that confession in a mountain of lies, and a victim who can never tell his side of the story. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When the only person left to tell you what happened is the murderer himself, can we ever really know the full truth?